Question for Daniel. You had put into the talking there with all the pre-fight hype with Cummings. How did you feel about your performance at 205? I mean, you look like pretty flawless there.
I felt pretty good. I mean, I felt like I could fight long. I felt like I was in shape, and no, I felt pretty good. I mean, it was only a minute and 30-second fight, so I felt good. When I was at heavyweight, I kind of would feel guys out a little bit, and I think these guys are a little faster, so I may not be able to do that anymore.
Daniel, if I could ask you, most people would say you're a pro's pro, and yet you seem like you let the trash talk get to you. I was surprised, when you shoved him at the press conference.
My leg was stuck. I was just trying to get up. Oh, at the press conference.
The other day,
I thought you were talking about today.
At the press conference when you shoved him, and then today you seemed like you were even still angry.
No, not at all.
I thought it was selling, and yet you seemed like you were not happy.
Well, I mean, obviously, when you start hearing things about what happened, in the wrestling room, I like to keep that stuff personal. I was going through a lot of things at the time, so it did upset me. But once I get into the cage, I'm not gonna. My emotion doesn't drive me. I fight like I'm going to fight regardless. I fight like I train. That's what a training camp's for. You prepare yourself to fight a certain way. So my emotion will never carry me. I've never done that. So he can make me mad and we can fuss at the press conference, but I'll never let that carry me in the cage. So by the time I went to the octagon tonight, I was fine. He could have been anyone else, and nothing would have changed. I would have competed the same exact way that I did.
Daniel, over here. There was an extraordinary picture essay done on you by Esther Lynn, and with your weight cut, which was fascinating, I've got to say. And you made weight really easily. You took very little damage in this fight. Would you like to get back into action very soon so that you can maintain this kind of light heavyweight run and keep your body at that weight?
Well, I mean, I've got to do that regardless, whether or not I'm fighting or not. I can't get so far away from the weight that I have to restart this whole process. So regardless of if I fight again, I'm going to stay as close as I need to be. I mean, I would like to fight again, but it seems like everybody's pretty much tied up, so I guess I just stay ready, and if someone gets injured, they give me a call, and if the fight makes sense, so I'll fight anytime, so they got some big fights coming up, if anybody gets hurt, they can give me a call.
He's going to have to lay off the pretzels for a few weeks to make sure nobody...
These pretzels are good, man. I'm starving. Guess what? Popeyes is bringing my whole family food tomorrow, so you guys can get out of here.
DC, quick question. You had told us on Wednesday when you had the fight with Bigfoot, you kind of had some nerves back then until you kind of felt the first kind of punching power from him. Now that you've dropped down to the 205 range, did you have any of that in this fight with all the buildup and then the change with Pat?
Well, it's like every time I fight now in the octagon, I feel more comfortable, and I'm actually scaring myself because I went from being very nervous against Mir to now there's no nerves whatsoever. Against Nelson, against Cummins, there's really no nerves. The thing I took from the fight more than anything was that my power actually carries me a lot further than it did in heavyweight, because the same uppercut I hurt Patrick with the very first time, I landed against Frank Mir maybe 15 times. I did it to Roy Nelson. I did it against Josh Barnett, and those guys kind of just ate him. And it visibly affected him tonight. So more than anything he did, I think my power is going to carry me a lot further in this division because I'm not as small compared to the guys that I'm fighting.
Question for Rory, please. You had an excellent fight there against Damian, fight of the night. How do you feel about your performance and where you rank right now into the division?
I was very happy with how I fought tonight. I felt like I didn't overthink everything like my last couple fights. I just went in there and I let the training show. I just shut my mind off and I fought, and I felt good. I still like to rewatch the fight, but everyone seems to be happy with it.
How did you feel about the adversity there in the first round?
Good. I stayed calm. I knew Damian's takedown was very strong, and he's a very strong jiu-jitsu fighter. So I stayed relaxed, and I waited for my opportunity to escape and get back to my feet.
Rory, your left hand is bandaged just there with you holding the microphone. Is it true that you cut your hand last Saturday with a kitchen knife, cutting an avocado?
Yeah.
Can you just talk us through what happened?
I stabbed myself. It's pretty embarrassing. I was when it happened, I was just so was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe it. I thought the fight, I was gonna have to pull the fight, because he could easily hit a tendon or something. I went to the emergency room, got stitched up, I got checked out. Everything's fine, everything's intact. It went in really far, but I didn't sever anything important, so I stitched it up, and I fought. Everything's cool.
So you were holding the avocado while you were cutting it, presumably, then?
The technique was off, all right.
A question for Rory MacDonald. Rory, after during the first round, that final minute, once the fight went back to the feet, it seemed like there was a clear change in Damian Maia's gas tank. Is that something you sensed in the final seconds of the first round, or was that something you picked up on once the second round started?
Well, I knew if I got up to my feet again, defending the takedown, that takes effort, on his part. So I knew I would wear him out that way, and keeping the pressure on him, keeping the action going, keeping my strikes on him. I would get the knockout eventually. But obviously he's a super tough guy. I hit him with a lot of good shots, and he stayed on his feet.
And Rory, congratulations on a good fight. In the second round, you seemed to really hurt him. Did you feel that it was time to finish it there, or did you still kind of keep to your plan to take it all the way to the third round?
I was definitely trying to finish him. I was definitely trying to keep the pressure on him, keep the punches and kicks coming. But he was a tough guy. He was really resilient. He was taking everything I had, and he was constantly shooting from my legs, shooting really low. So I had to be aware of staying in position. But I was definitely in there for the kill tonight. It didn't come through.
And just one last question for Rafael. Your performance tonight, obviously you're ranked number 3 in the bantamweight division. How did you feel about that, and where do you see yourself going in the division? Do you feel ready for a title shot?
I think my consistency and my record, it's showing right now. I'm happy for my 6th win in a row, and whatever the UFC decides, I just feel I'm in position. I've been getting better every fight, and even though I've lost me an opponent, the guy was a tough opponent, and I've been breaking a lot of the past fighters that I fought. I've been breaking their win streaks. So if you look at the last couple guys I fought, I've broke their win streak. I was the first one.
Question for Mike Pyle. Mike, obviously a very impressive performance and very well-rounded as well. Did you feel like TJ was out before the fight was actually stopped? It looked like he might have been out for a second, and then maybe a punch woke him up.
No, it goes back to what Dana said earlier, that some of those weren't as clean. But once I did start to land some really good, solid ones, Herb was right there. There was a few, exchanges that we were going through that nothing was really, landing. So once the action kind of settled, and I landed a couple, then Herb was right in, and it was done.
For Alex, if I could, please. There were all 3 judges had different scores. I think the media was split everywhere. Can you tell us how you thought the fight played out? And obviously, I'm guessing you haven't had a chance to watch it again yet, but how you thought it should have been scored?
Obviously it was a tough fight. Let's face it, we're fighting in the UFC now, where I'm not fighting on the street or anything like that. I'm going to get, top-notch opponents. I felt like I won the fight. I wanted to push myself a little bit more than I did, but overall, I thought it was my win.
You were so effective in the second round. The third round seemed like you were willing to stand and trade, where maybe a takedown would have made it very clear-cut and easy. What was your thought there in approaching the third round that way?
Just sometimes I don't think as much as I should, I guess. I felt really good, really comfortable the second round. The third round, she was coming out strong. She was, obviously she's been through a lot in the last couple months or so, and she was tough. She was, coming for blood, and I wouldn't expect it any other way, fighting where I am.
Rhonda said she was impressed with what you did. I mean, do you feel like you've done enough to be the #1 contender right now? I guess some of it depends on Kat's health and that sort of thing, but do you feel like you've done enough to earn the title shot?
Of course I'm going to say yes. I've been fighting for so long, and, who else is 3-0 in the UFC other than the girl, who's sitting right down from me. It was a great win for her, and, obviously she's got a lot of things going on, but I want that shot. You know, I'm the quiet girl that sits there, but I'm looking for it. I'm reaching out for it. I'm gonna take it if I get it.